In one of the more disgusting, filthy episodes I've seen in a long time from Joe Scarborough, who is getting quite good at being a jerk. This is an actual article in the Washington Post, let me be clear, an opinion piece written by, there it is right there in the Washington Post, by nutjob Joe Scarborough. This is not a joke. We did not manipulate this in any way. Trump is harming America and making comparisons. Can you go back to the screen that he said? I just want to make sure I get it right. Is harming the dream of America more than any foreign adversary ever could. And he makes a 9/11 analogy there. Look at the photo. Folks, this is really, this is epidemic of what's going on in our politics. The stupid is just spreading like a forest fire, like a dangerous virus, and it's infecting the heads of idiots like Joe Scarborough. Is this guy serious? You know, I want to be careful on this one because I don't want to do what I'm accusing Joe of, which I can get excited about these topics too. For those of you who watch the show regularly, I think you know that. Let's just be reasonable and rational for a minute. You're making comparisons to 9/11 and the Trump administration, the danger level. Joe, 3,000 plus people died on that day, not to mention people still dying today. Some of the heroes who went down there afterwards in the pit and breathed in that toxic air, who are getting sarcoidosis and exotic and disturbing forms of cancer. You may want to take a pass on these comparisons, Joe. People jumped out of buildings from 80, 90, 100 stories in the air, 70 stories in the air. Did you hear Bernard Kerik on Fox News this morning, the former New York City police commissioner, talking about how when people slammed into Vesey Street who jumped out of the building, that they literally disintegrated from the impact? Did you hear that, Joe? You probably didn't hear it because you were probably doing your silly show on MSNBC while a show people actually watch, Fox and Friends, was on. And that's where Bernard Kerik was. People jumped out of those buildings to escape the flames. You ever been up that high? You ever look down? Can you imagine the horror these people were facing? The choice, burn to death while these flames are licking your skin, or jump 90 stories to disintegrate into the pavement? And this lowlife at MSNBC thinks it's a fair comparison to compare the Trump presidency in any way to the events of what happened on 9/11 and the national danger? People were burned to death. People were crushed to death. People were incinerated in the collapse of that building. We lost people from the Secret Service there. We talked about him yesterday, Craig Miller. ESU cops. Emergency Service Units cops, New York City Fire Department New York City Fire Department firefighters. Just disgusting, man. Seriously. You should be embarrassed. You should hang your head in shame, take a few weeks off from the air, and suspend yourself. Donate your pay for the next 2 weeks to one of these victims' funds for writing such a stupid, uninformed, ridiculous, outrageous article. You're an embarrassment to yourself, to your network, and anyone who defends you in this. You need to apologize. That's absolutely disgusting, that piece. You know, one last thing on this. But, you know, I like to get you behind the scenes of the show because I like to do things differently. And Denise and I talk a lot about the content of the show. And, you know, sometimes the calls are quick, but today was a little longer. Because Denise and I were talking about unique stains on human history that you just don't compare to anything else. You just don't do it. You don't make slavery comparisons. You don't make Holocaust comparisons. And you sure as hell don't make 9/11 comparisons to the Trump presidency because you have a political disagreement. You just don't do it. These are unique horrors on humankind that thankfully we hope will never, ever have any kind of adequate analogous event anywhere now or in the future. We hope and pray. Don't be an idiot, Joe. Apologize. America deserves it. That's an outrageous piece.